Welcome back to another episode of Out of Bounds with Pluto, where the conversations go deeper, stories get real, people shaping the game. Let's step into the spotlight. Today, this one's special for me because we're talking to a player, coach, trainer, talking to a builder, someone who created something, a basketball coach in Orlando, who helped create it. He's a founder, commissioner, the heartbeat behind one of the most respected program leagues in Florida, the ACE League, a platform that becomes home to pros, overseas killers, college stars, and the best hoopers in the city. You talk about Orlando basketball, right, guys? You can't talk about Orlando basketball without Will Lee. We missed him these last 2 years, brother. And he's a leader. He's someone who's been pushing the culture forward year after year. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Will Lee. First of all, I appreciate you being here, sir. I know you're coming off, the last day of the season. You built something that's going to be stable in the city. I'm excited to dive into your story and everything behind the AC League. Now, with that being said, right, without starting at the beginning, we always need a origin story. Tell me about the AC League and how it started, brother.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, gentlemen, for having me. It's a pleasure being here on this platform, man, and I appreciate y'all all the continued
Sure.
support of the ACE, man. No question. ACE, actually, a lot of people don't know what ACE stands for. ACE stands for Aspirations Can Empower, and that was founded in 2019 of February. Me and three other guys, we had came together and said it was something that we wanted to do for the community. Start doing some community activism stuff, and we wanted to have a competitive league where we had a bunch of the top players from all around the town because we seen in the city that it would be, a really powerful program playing in this men's league and another powerful program playing in this men's league, but it wasn't bringing everything together into one league where the best of the best competed against each other. So it was something that we thought about bringing together, and from there, it's kind of just blossomed into something completely different. Where now we've been recognized as a top 10 pro-am in the United States. We
Mhm.
just got invited out to the invitational class this past couple months ago over in Philly. We did well out there. We showed up and showed out, and that was on short notice. So it's only upward from this point. But yeah, man, it's been a phenomenal journey. Been a phenomenal journey.
Yeah, man. I will say this. I love what you did. And I love what you do for the community, especially where you do it. You do it at schools. So you got the young kids come in. Anybody under 18 is free. Or 13. I'm sorry. I don't
No,
want
no,
to.
17 and under. 17 and under is
17 is
free.
under is free. That's one thing I noticed. You're very observant dude. And the fact that you let those kids be there, be around these pros, these guys, and see, they can see the warming up. They can see what it takes to get going. Because a lot of basketball is maintenance, especially when you get older. It's about how you prep, how you end your day. And I think that's really important for like the health of the player and longevity. And it shows them all that, and also community and like big brothers. That's the one thing I noticed about that. It's like a lot of big brothers in there. The old heads are talking to the YGs, the YGs are talking to the young guys, and I love it,
Absolutely.
man. Um, but building this platform, right? Why did you say like Orlando needs this? Like we need to do this for Orlando. What made you guys as a collective do this?
Well, I mean, Orlando is a hub of just tourism. People from all across the world already here, and it was something that wasn't here present. I heard that a few years ago that they had did the Orlando Pro Am, back in the early 2000s, and and then they just stopped, for just various different reasons. Everybody has their story why that happened, but it was something that it was needed because we have a centralized hub of professional athletes that are here every summer from NBA on down. And it was like, we need this. And then we need the community to be able to touch them because I work in disenfranchised communities. You see where ACE is. I'm in the heart of Paramore. And
Hmm.
I would like for these kids to have the opportunity because I was one of those kids. A lot of people don't know my background, but I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and one of my mentors is Larry Johnson, who run the
Ah,
who runs the BAD program. Him and his brother Magic, I'm sure y'all know who Magic is. They ran a program there in Lansing, which helped save my life, and so this is one of those things where now I'm trying to sit there and do the same for young kids who could have took a different path. And so that's really what we're doing here. And I've seen it, and I want them to be able to have that ability to touch pros.
Hmm. Now, talking about community impact and like what you do for your community and things like that, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to like have the city behind you, have these food trucks, have all these ladies selling bunk cakes? Like, what does it mean to have the city behind you?
I mean, it's been phenomenal. It was one of those things when I first started. A lot of people said that because I'm not from here, wasn't born and raised, that I wasn't going to receive that support. But Orlando has really embraced me as one of their own. And it's one of those things where like it's something that wherever I'm staying and raising my children, I want that environment to be conducive for them to succeed. And
Hmm.
and I want that for anybody else's children. And the fact that Orlando has embraced me the way that they have, and just Central Florida in general has embraced me. It's been really empowering me to keep on going because it hasn't been easy. It hasn't always
Yeah,
been easy, and a lot of people don't realize, what kind of work goes in behind it. But
yeah,
that support and love that the city has shown, keeps me going.
yeah. Having a strong team, because me, Tyler, and Nas, we put in our own thing and platform, and it's just to relate to you, like having dependable people is like it's like you don't understand having someone just saying I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna do this. It's so big for these leagues, like having a cameraman, having a ref, all those things. If they work perfectly, you get the Ace League, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, how would you describe? This is a little bit off, the Ace League, but how would you describe the culture, the basketball culture in Orlando, the scene, if someone never knew about
Well, how I would describe it is so much talent here that is untapped, and they don't get the visibility that they possibly should. Orlando to me is a just a market that is just now blooming into what it could become a actual mecca of the United States, not just Florida, because of what is here. Whether you take it in the Polk counties, if you count all the Central Florida areas, whether it's the Sanfords or the Daytonas, or you
it?
just take all that talent and put it to here, we could really build something really, really big. And it's something that I really want a lot of people to understand, that what I believe in the product, I believe in what these young fellas are coming up and doing, and the talent is here. Like,
Yeah,
I've been doing this a long time. I've been around the game of basketball, and there's so many athletes, there's so many different trainers, there's so many talented kids that this could become the new mecca of the United States, not just Florida.
yeah. And I love that because that's true. I mean, people don't know about Shane Larkin. People don't know about the Chandler Parsons. People don't know about these guys that came from Central Florida and went to the league because they didn't have these super uber crazy careers, but these are pros. And I just feel like at the end of the day, if you know your history on Orlando, we have a lot of pros. Jacksonville, a lot of pros. Miami, even though it's football, we still have a lot of pros that
Yeah.
come from Florida. Now professionalism, because I hear you with the young guys. He used to be a high school player, now he's a college guy, or he used to be a college guy, now he's a professional, right? You talk a lot about it. What does a professional look like to you?
A professional, just in by definition of the word itself, is someone who understands their craft and has gained a mastery of it. And see, and what we say by professionalism, it's not just what you do on the court, but it's what you do off of the court as well. How do you carry yourself? How do you manage, adverse situations? Are you on top of your game? Are you putting the dedication to your craft? Are you putting the hours in? Are you eating correctly? Are you making smart choices, whether it's from, what you're doing as far as clubbing to women? Like, all of those things go into factor. I work with a lot of these agents. I work with team owners. I've been behind the scenes a long time with people who do evaluation, who write the checks. And so a lot of the times where a lot of these guys go overseas, what they don't realize is they're watching your social media. They're watching what you're doing on your social media. They're watching what you're saying. And that's just at the overseas level. right? We're not even talking about the NBA who hires, former FBI agents to go and do to your background and interview your people. Your phones and stuff are being watched and monitored, and the things you say and doing, because these organizations are investing millions into you, right? And so they want to make sure that you are going to represent their brand to the best ability that you possibly can. And this is a reality that a lot of people don't realize, is that even with Ace this year, I had 70 new first time,
Yeah,
pros, collegiate guys, things of that nature, from the Sams Alexas of the world who end up playing in the NBA Summer League. David Green played for Golden State. I had a bunch of those guys this year. And what they need to always recognize is that you are always being watched. The things you say, your social media presence, all of that. So professionalism goes beyond the basketball court. So
yeah.
I think they should really realize that.
This isn't on my questions, but it is a question because I grew up super curious, right? I wanted to know. Everybody always tells you can't do that, right? You can't do that, right? So when you're talking to a kid or pro 23-year-old, 25-year-old trying to get to that next level, what are they looking for? What are those things that the NBA guys are wanting from people? Because you can tell someone not to post this, but what should you post?
I mean, well, what you should do is always give them the image that you're working. So if you are going to be posting on social media, post your workouts, post the things in the training sessions, post that you're eating healthy, post that you're making right choices. You're working throughout the community. Post things that are going to display your character. I think that that's some of the biggest things in which most evaluators, talent evaluators, are looking at. Because if I have two kids who are fresh out of college, both average 20 points per game, and one is 6'8" and he has the body frame of Adonis, right? Versus another kid that is 6'6" and wiry, but we like, he might need to put some muscle on. But
Yeah,
we still may go with the 6'6" kid because the things he's doing, we know we can work with him. When we talked to his coach said that he is one of the hardest workers in the gym. He sits there and always does the right thing. He takes care of his grandmother. He's, in at night at the right time each and every night. He's doing the things he needs to do, versus the 6'8" guy who we know is a physical specimen that he'll easily give us the same points. But, we know he got 3 or 4 women that he's talking to right now. We seen him at the club. He was drinking on last night. He's at the strip club tossing money. We see how he talks and engages with people. There's character flaws there. And so if there's character flaws there, 9 times out of 10, they take the kid that they can work with and build with, right? You
yeah,
have to be uber talented, like that no brainer LeBron, Kobe type of level, for them to overlook a lot of those character flaws.
yes,
You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of these guys need to understand, and they also need to understand that your replacement is working in the gym every time you're taking a
every
break.
day. Mm-hmm.
And that part is one of those things where I've talked to a couple pros this year who were kind of taking it easy, because what I use Ace for the pro guys is not just a pro am. It is for them to use it as a basketball training facility, meaning that you're going against other pros at a high level game and high speed semblance of a game. Use this to better yourself. Don't go through the motions. I prefer a guy not even show up if he's going to go through the motions,
Yeah,
because you're not getting any work for yourself. You're not doing any justice to your name. And it's really not, forget my brand, you're hurting yourself. You know what I mean? When you do that, because anytime you step on that basketball court as a professional, once again, it goes back to your professional question. As a
right.
professional, anytime you step onto that court, it is a privilege. It is a
Yeah,
privilege that you are able and God given enough skills to get paid to play the game of basketball, which won't last long. You will not be my age playing professional basketball. That's not going to happen.
yeah,
So, that's what I really want people and more kids to realize that.
yeah. And I agree with you on that because this is like, it's crazy because like there's one guy that who stuck out to me talent wise. He wasn't the biggest guy in the gym. It's Jordan Sears, and we talked about him prior. And it's funny that you bring it up that everyone MVP because like he's physically he's imposing. I don't care about him being 5'11", 6 foot. He's imposing. But I think the best thing about him is his composure. I think it was the third or fourth week he hurt his ankle. And in most leagues, right, and this is no shade to the other leagues, right? Most leagues, most of these players, they're on pros. He felt like he got fouled. He waited till after the game, pulled the ref to the side, said, "Hey man, this is what I was seeing out there. You know what I'm saying? Can you look at this a little different for me? You see it?" And in a lot of leagues, if you've been into them, they're
Of course.
cussing the ref out in the middle of the game, and that's what I stamp professionalism. That is professionalism
Yes.
to the highest degree. Is let me wait until it's just me and him. We're in a position where it's not highly emotional, and let me tell him what's going on. And I'm pretty sure they're going to look at something. Maybe he is getting fouled. I missed that because the refs are also people too, right?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point that out because it's true. And another thing I wanted to point out about professionalism is, and this is no shade to the players, all the players in the league, but when you have a guy who you know that he's that guy, and he's not playing to his ability, you pull him to the side and you let him know that, hey man, what is this? We don't do this. And that's one thing I love as well because you're able to hold them accountable without them feeling embarrassed. And
Yeah.
that's you're tapped into a place where you're kind of like Yoda over there. You're like you're allowed to kind of do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Um, and Tyler texted me, and I'm gonna be honest first. I kind of glossed over the fact that you're connected to Larry Johnson. And I need to hear something. Tell me the story about how you met him and how you're so connected there.
Well, I mean, man, obviously I've known Larry since I was a kid, like a
And
man, 11 years old, probably something of
yeah,
that nature. He started the BAD program over at Hill Vocational Center for
mhm.
kids in disenfranchised communities. I'm a Kingsley Community Center kid from the west side of Lansing, which is a pretty rough side of town where heavily drug infested and murders, all of that type of stuff. And what he wanted to do is give an opportunity for kids within the community to be able to play like midnight basketball, so they wouldn't get into trouble. And one of the things in which he did over at Hill was he did lock-ins. When those lock-ins where we essentially stayed there all night just playing basketball from sunup to the next morning. And that way we're not in any trouble that way,
Mhm.
because y'all know what they say, anything after midnight, that's the devil's playground. And
Yes, sir.
so essentially what he did is kept us off the street and gave us an opportunity. He would bus us there, like he would get us there. I developed a relationship with him. My mother also went to school with Magic, and so
Ah,
she went to school with Magic, and she over at Everett High School, and she ended up making his birthday cakes, his wedding cakes. My mom's a professional baker, and so that was one a connection there. And then I lived right next door to his brother Quincy,
mhm.
right there on Middle Street. So
Yeah.
Quincy stayed at 814, I was 812. So we're next door neighbors, got to meet in that way. And obviously with the basketball, I started really picking up basketball around 12, 13. And he's seen it. He's seen something in me. He supported me. He took me out of the country. Started showing me a different part of the world. Like he was taking us up to Toronto, where we had tournaments up there against Jamal McGlure and all those
Wow, what
guys.
a name.
Yeah, man.
What a name. He
Yes,
was nasty. Six what? 6'11", big guy, rebounder.
yes, man. Over there from the Charlotte Hornets. Look,
Yeah,
this and how they do it up in how they do it up in Canada is completely different, because when we
yeah.
went up there at about 15, 16, he had took us up there at about 15, 16, and we got to meet Ron Harper and Alex English and all those guys.
Ah,
You know what I mean? It's like some of the OGs. And
yeah.
up there they allow you to be older in high school. So
Ah,
So that first year, we got built the ass. Like
grown man. You
there's
got
no,
some grown man.
yeah. Look, I'm not even gonna hold you up. We got
Yeah,
built the ass, and but we learned from that lesson, and
yeah,
we had so many different things. Like Larry is like my father. Like, you get what I
yeah.
mean? Because I didn't really have my father in my life that way, and he was somebody who even still to this day I talk to pretty frequently, and it's a great space to have somebody who heart has always been in the right place.
Yeah.
You know.
Talking about mentoring, right? Uh, Obviously, Larry gave you a lot of keys, right, to help other players. What are some things that Larry had told you that you are consistent with? Because I like do sales, right? And one of the things in sales that I'm always consistent in is like I don't stay on the phone if the conversation is going. I'm a vibe guy, and I learned that from one guy. I always pick up on personalities and just match those, and that's something that I stay true to. So you being like, a savant, right? What are some things that you know that are building blocks that you always share, no matter what level of players at? You always share with players.
Well, I mean, like goes back into what I originally said as far as you don't get long to do this. And you
Hmm.
won't have a long time to do this because it doesn't. It just feel like yesterday when I was playing myself,
Yeah.
and it's what happens now is that in that time with what you get from the knowledge and experience of all these different people that you meet in this game of basketball, these networking opportunities, all these things you need to cherish and turn them into life lessons because working amongst as a team, it does translate into real life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us won't be entrepreneurs. So a lot of us are going into the workforce and we have to, handle adversity with
Word.
people that we work with, that we're supposed
Hmm.
to be on the same team. And I mean, I'm sure that all of us have stories about coworkers that we didn't like and everything else, but we still had to figure out how to work with them.
Right.
And so it gives out great life lessons on that Teal. But what I tell a lot of players is that use this opportunity and then also build up your wherewithal of how the business of basketball works. Because
Yeah.
too often times a lot of guys like to just play the game of basketball, but in
Hmm.
understanding the game of basketball, two different things. There's a business. There's a
Yeah.
business side of thing to everything when especially at the professional level
Yeah.
especially. And now we're seeing it going into the even the high school and collegiate level as well. So yeah, it's big
Yeah, that's
business.
one thing I will say. Like I was, I mean, I don't want to throw those names out, but I heard Turbo talking to somebody else, and they're like, "Bro, where you going? Oh, this guy's trying to pay me this, but this guy wants to give me this," and that's real cloth talk. These are young men. Like Turbo's probably not even older than 24. Sears is a young man as well, and they're kind of it's not pro, but it's pro, but they're deciding their future and they're putting the work in and they're getting paid for what they love to do.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. I'm gonna blow your mind right here. I grew up with Chad Brown, Evan Henson, and Blake
Okay.
out
Okay.
there in that Volusia County area.
All right.
I grew up with these guys. Sadly I didn't become 6'5", 6'8". I'm a tall dude, but I ain't that tall. You know,
Yeah,
Chad.
yeah, I
That's
get
a
you.
big guy. I got DVDs my mom has of me and Chad battling it out 8th and 9th grade. But he kept growing. But long story short, bro, you're right because this isn't forever, and my journey wasn't as long as Chad. My journey wasn't as long as Blake or Evan. I really didn't even get to go to college, but I had to find a way to stay in the game because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you said. I didn't get basketball until I understood it, and now I
Exactly.
can. It's a different when you can think the game. I wish I could still have my body. I can anywhere I want to go.
Exactly.
But kind of just pull this together because I want to know what's going on. You were gone, you took a hiatus, came back, took over again, right now.
Yeah.
What are some things we're going to see from the Ace League next? Are you going to be kind of doing more, leagues throughout the year? What are some things you got to prep for?
Yeah, so typically, because of how draining Ace is, typically I've only done it once a year, right? During the summertime when all the pros are back and everything else. These last 2 years, I've been, doing some data testing as far as with the junior ace and just learning that space and what that looks like as far as having the kids because I would like to be able to create that kind of pipeline where a kid could be in my junior ace, as a middle schooler, being as a high schooler, and then eventually when they become pro, end up being in the pro am, because ace is something that I've built that will outlast me. Yeah, and then so that's what the whole goal of this is. I just completed my eighth season of Ace this past year, and
Crazy.
it's crazy how fast it's going. And I can't wait till I get to those times where I'm up in there as a gray-haired man, just sitting in there watching something that I built that somebody else is running with, and but the branding is still there because it's going to be something that is a trusted brand for people to continue to grow in. So yeah, I'm working on Junior Ace. I've been working on some things now. I had an actual meeting with a business owner earlier today about doing Junior Ace. I got an announcement that I'm going to be making. I don't know if you know Ivan Rainey, but we're going to be sitting in there. He's one of the top NBA trainers around
Wow.
here, and
Mhm.
we're going to be doing some partnership stuff that's going to be up and coming. Yeah, like we got some things. We got some things in the works. There's always a challenge as far as finding funding because When you're an authentic guy like myself, you speak your truth unapologetically. And sometimes that, can,
Hmm.
alienate you from sponsorship opportunities, because
Yeah,
I believe that there's a bigger calling than just basketball.
there is.
What good is playing the game of basketball if you are have a broken soul or a broken heart or a broken mind, and you're done with the game of basketball? Then what happens? And so a lot of people don't talk about the depression that what we do in men, and so that's why I started the mending men's group. That's something that we do every Tuesday over at the school, and we do a Tuesday morning, and we talk about some deep topics that affect men, because men don't talk about these type of things because we were trained not to.
Yeah,
And being in that space, that's a whole different arena, because um, that's going to outlast the game of basketball.
for sure.
You know what I mean? The type
That's
of
that's
man you
great
are,
community
what type of
building.
father you become, that will outlast the game of basketball. So that's one of the things I do. And then I also do father figures every Tuesday and Thursday as well, working with kids at various different schools. Just trying to motivate them. I have this positive affirmation things that I do with them, stuff such as telling them that they're special, and I have them relate it to themselves, so until they believe it.
Yeah,
And I mean at the top of their lungs, screaming stuff like "I am special." And then I
yeah,
want them to give themselves that positive reaffirm to say, yes, I am. And I have
yeah.
them tell themselves that, because a lot of them, especially the first time I do it, the first couple of weeks I do it, a lot of them never even heard that before.
That's
They've
true.
never, as crazy as that may sound, the fact that when I asked them, do you know you're special? Have you ever heard that before? And they said, no.
Yeah,
And then just having to break that down of, you're one of one. There is no other person who has came before you or after you. And I think that if more people, even adults, would
right.
realize that you're one of one,
Yeah,
like there's nobody who is ever going to be you again,
yeah.
not before or after. And if you start thinking that way, you might start, having your own independent thought instead of this collective mind frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, man, I want, that's something I'm probably going to clip. I really want to clip that because, I got ADHD and things like that. Mental health is big, but like also having like Nas and Tyler with these people for me, having people to like kind of tell you, hey, bro, you're really good at this, or man, we have something special here. We need you. But like, it's different when a man's telling you that because it takes a lot for a man to even express emotions,
That
right?
part.
So when
That
you're
part.
hearing someone even tell you you're special and it's another man, it kind of makes you feel like, I'm a part of something, or even I am someone. So I definitely I'm gonna clip that there. Uh Kind of gonna, these are quick, right? And I hate that
Yeah.
this is quick, but I'm enjoying this conversation. But you mentioned gray hair, right? My last question. When it's all said and done, right? And there's no longer a Will Lee D'Angelo, you gotta step up. But there's no longer a Will Lee, right? What is what is your vision on the H League's like legacy?
My vision ultimately is just, and it's my vision in life, is that I left this planet a little bit better than when I came in it. Right? I really want to sit there and then touch and be impactful on people's lives in a very positive way. That regardless of, and this is a truth, a fundamental truth that I've learned, that people won't remember everything you said, but they will
Hmm.
always remember how you made them feel.
Right.
And so I think that that's one of those things where I want people who had came across me in life to say that he always made me feel solid. Like
Yeah.
I've always felt good being around him. I felt like I could be my true authentic self. I didn't never have to be somebody else in front of him. You get what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that's how I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be that, you know, I made people feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do, man. I see it when those guys see you, their face lights up. And you trying to go in there with the hoodies up. You don't play that. Hey, Turbo, I see you over there.
Yeah.
That
That's it.
MVP. And
That's it.
man, they don't want to admit it because what kind of world we live in. But I know that makes their whole week, man. Because there's
Yeah.
no way a guy, and respectfully, a guy who's not paying you, you're coming back to paying this league. You're doing it for a reason, and that's the reason right there. It's what you're
Yeah.
leaving behind and what you're planning and them to give to other people. Um, with that being said, man. I want to say thank you for this conversation. This goes deeper. The stories hit harder. People shaping the game in the spotlight. One last thing, I apologize. I want to let you go on a good note. I do want to say, man, at the end of the day, with all this being said, we appreciate you, Will, for being here and what you built for Hoops. It's a platform that connects pros, trainers, agents, overseas players, the entire Orlando basketball community. The city's better because of you, man. And I see the faces that are there when you're there. This has been Out of Bounds with Pluto. Catch you another time, Will. Thank you, brother.
Peace and love, my brother.
Yes,
Thank y'all for
sir.
having me.